Okay, 3, 2, 1, go.
Let's go! Welcome to Two Tipsy Plants.
Welcome to Two Tipsy.
Sorry. Take two. Welcome to Two Tipsy Plants. Tipsy. The podcast where we talk plants and drink booze. My name is Sasha.
And my name is Sasha. You might as well hold your accent. You know, when you said too tipsy, you might as well continue with that accent.
I never dropped it, you know?
Well, as Sasha said, welcome back. And,
It has been some time.
well, not really. It wasn't that bad, you know. But we're more consistent now, but our schedule is a bit more spread out, just like the legs, you know.
Who said it?
Chris Hipkins.
Chris Hipkins. Lovely guy. All about spreading legs.
Yep.
Yeah. And today episode we will be talking about our lovely small friends of nature that help us to digest a lot of different things in the soil.
Well, I guess we will be talking about, it's not particularly plants, but it is something that is very related to plants, and plants can't really exist without it, to be honest.
Well, they can, but it will be easier.
We won't be having as many plants. Anyway. Yeah?
It will be a discussion and debate, but it's fine. We're here for that.
Fungi. We are talking about fungi.
We're talking about fun, guys, but it's not very fun.
We're talking about fungi, and we will be talking about the relationships between fungi and plants.
Yep.
And everything in between.
Yeah, I'm gonna partially touch on beneficial aspects of mushrooms as well. That is quite interesting, I would say.
The magic
ones? At least to me. No, you can cover the magic ones.
No, I've never tried the magic ones.
Neither. All right, so the poison of today's choice.
Tell me something.
Okay.
When you make poison of today's choice, is there any fungi that helps the poison of choice to become the poison of choice?
I don't think that yeast falls under the fungi category.
I don't know. Good question. Anyway,
I think yeast is yeast.
You can pour some wine while I ask Google that question.
Today's poison of choice will be the Sauvignon Blanc by ASTROLABE. It's harvested in 2023 from Marlborough region.
Yeast. Single-cell microorganism classified as members of fungus kingdom.
It's a fungi who helps us to make fun drinks.
Yes, and we are having the
Sauvignon Blanc from Marlborough region. The Marlborough region climate is very characteristic by its dryness. It has summer droughts that are quite frequent. It's quite warm climate as well, but because so it's quite similar to the continental climate of the mainland, which apparently New Zealand is not mainland.
Really?
No, I mean, no.
Oh, I see what you mean.
That's apparently my conclusion, that New Zealand is not mainland. We are living on a small island.
That's why I'm like, huh?
It
also says, like, it clearly says that it's vegan. Like, you're just facing it towards me and it says vegan.
Vegan. But yes, because of its close proximity, Marlborough region to the coastal area, the climate changes are more subtle and more mild, which helps with a more stable climates, yeah. riper fruit, I would say. Sauvignon also grows better, as far as I remember, in a colder climate, because it means that it's not going to get as sugary.
But also nothing is better than a Sauvignon Blanc from Marlborough region in New Zealand, to be honest. That's like a...
Where is Ripon Valley?
Ooh, it is in Wanaka.
Is it Marlborough?
No, that's Otago. Ooh, it's so floral and fruity.
Honeydewy.
Yeah.
So yeah, Sauvignon Blanc, as my guidebook tells me, has a characteristic note of gooseberries, honeydew, grapefruit, white peach, and passion fruit.
Okay, definitely passion fruit.
It may be a little bit too cold at the moment.
Honestly, perfect. Because it's so cold, you can taste the passion fruit just like that. I thought it was peach at first, but it's actually very passion fruity, like straight to your face passion fruit. I feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit green passion fruit, but yeah,
I like it.
it's lovely. I always liked ASTROLABE. Kudos to you guys.
So what does vegan and vegan wine mean?
So by saying vegan, it means that the wine is
eggs?
Yeah, they're not using yeast in order to clarify their wine. Honestly, I can't remember. I did not delve into the mechanics of clarifying your wine with eggs, but that's the thing.
Okay. I guess they don't use any animal products to grow their wine.
No, that doesn't go like that, because they would still use the bone meal for fertilizing if they would need to.
Yeah, but if it's vegan, they wouldn't. Would they not? If it's vegan?
Well, vegans are still eating vegetables, but vegetables are fertilized with bone meal. So vegans, I'm sorry, you are not vegan. Your plants are not vegan, so not you.
You're talking about like blood and bone.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's yummy though.
It's great.
I like
it's grape.
It's grape. Thank you, Captain Obvious.
It tastes very grapey.
Right. Oh, honestly, I just want to keep drinking and not talking. It's so good. And I haven't had a good Sauv Blanc in like ages. Because usually the ones that come from Marlborough are... Sasha, you working? Sasha just all of a sudden opened Outlook and I'm like, bitch.
Triggered.
Yep, I am.
We literally just came from work, like, we need to record.
I cooked dinner at home, right? Because I came home. I'm like, okay, I need to cook dinner like right now because I know that I'm coming here to record. So I was like, okay, Max, you go walk Balto and I'm gonna cook dinner. And then I cooked the bloody chicken for like an hour and it still didn't cook. So do you know what I did?
What the fuck did you do with the chicken for an hour so it didn't cook?
I don't know, but do you know what I did?
What?
I cut 2 drumsticks out of it, put it in the microwave for 4 minutes, and it finished the cooking. And I had a lovely...
wasn't the whole chicken?
Yep, Chef Mike finished it.
Okay.
Yeah, it was the whole chicken.
Okay, the whole chicken. That explains it. Because, like, in my mind, it was already one of those memes that I have seen recently on Instagram. It's like somebody's cooking the steak, and it just says, if it's pink inside, it means still rare, right? And the picture just literally a charcoal, like a lava with the like red shining through because it's just so hot. It's like, if it's rare, it still needs to cook, right?
Yep. Right. So, Sasha, tell me, did you learn anything new while doing your research on fungus and how it benefits plants and fungus that are related to plants and stuff?
No, most of it I have already knew, to be honest. Some of the dots have connected with the TV series that I have recently watched on Netflix.
What is it called?
I think it just called Fungus or something like that. Or a Fungi. And that was about like how fungus basically a deep dive into how fungus grows, how it influences the plant life, how different varieties of fungus influence people's health.
Okay.
Gosh. Yeah, it was a quite interesting episode, I think. I think there are several episodes in there.
Cool.
So what was one of the most interesting funguses that you have discovered for yourself? Fungi. Funguses.
Honestly, I haven't really I haven't really done the research on specific funguses. I did more of like I guess just some interesting things that are fungus, how fungi
procreate?
Not procreate, but how it has, in some cases, symbiotic, in some cases, non-symbiotic relationship with plants, because I find it quite fascinating. Found that a lot of fungi is actually...
From Fungare?
A lot of fungi is actually very beneficial to everything around us. And I guess the biggest difference, and the biggest difference to describe the difference between plants and fungi, right, is that
there is no chloroform.
Well, yes, that's one thing, but the biggest statement is plants are how do I say it? Oh gosh, I forgot how they said it. So plants are food producers, and fungi are decomposers, pretty much here, because they all they do is pretty much break down things where plants produce things. And in very generalized terms. Yes. Yeah. So tell me what you've learned. I see you've got because my notes are very like sketchy. I've got sketches and stuff because I remember.
Very sketchy. Very sketchy notes.
Like yours are like
just big mushrooms all over the pages. No, mine is very generic, to be honest. It's mostly like guidelines for myself. Like, the most impressive thing about a mushroom, in my opinion, is that what we consider a mushroom is just a penis of a mushroom. Let's call it that. It's a fruit. It's a reproductive organ, penis or vagina, be that or whatever.
So what Sasha says is what we see, the
is
mushroom,
less
the
than
actual
1%
mushroom
of the actual body.
It's like if you see a tree and you see an apple on it. So the mushroom is like an apple on that tree, but the tree is under the ground, where the whole mycelium. So can you I see that you've got mycelium there. Can you tell us what mycelium is?
At the heart of the fungal ecology and the mushroom life lies mycelium. It's a vast network of thread-like structures that permeate the soil. It helps to decay the matter and helps to decay dead living organisms. If it makes sense, dead living organisms, just bodies.
It helps to decompose
everything.
Everything pretty much is everything. All the dead cells and stuff. It helps to decompose it. So, in layman term, have you ever dug up the soil and saw like a white, almost like a spider, like a very tiny spiderweb looking structure under the soil, which smells very mushroomy? That's mycelium. So mycelium is like a network. It's literally, it looks like a net of usually white
just threads
that go throughout the soil.
And very characteristic smell of mushrooms, and that just means that your soil is quite healthy.
Yeah, it actually means that the soil is healthy because you have a lot of decomposers in it, which help to break down things in the soil, and that Sasha, stop it. And that so they break down dead cells, right? And then they create nutrients for the plants to take up as food to grow. So
it just essentially unlocks some. So when the nutrients, oh my gosh, in the soil, nutrients usually can be in two states: locked and unlocked. By locked, it means it's different compounds, which by breaking down, mushrooms help to release them for the plants.
Yeah. Yep. Speaking of mycelium and stuff, do you know what is the biggest living organism on the planet?
So the biggest living organism is a humongous fungus, Armillaria ostoyae, which spawns over 3.4 square miles in Oregon.
So what is 3.4 square miles?
Hey Siri.
It's 8.9 square kilometers.
Oh, good. Siri at boy.
Here's what I found.
Okay. Do you know what Armillaria is?
Can't remember.
They are honey mushrooms. Do you know what honey mushrooms are?
No.
Opiata.
Opiata!
Yep.
They're yummy.
So they are, well, not all species are, not fruit of all of the Armillaria fungus are edible, but most are. And Sasha mentioned that it is the biggest living organism on the planet. It is still speculated in terms of like they can't 100% check that it is the same network of the plant, so it's still a speculation, but it is a very possible
speculation because they can actually check the DNA, and if it's like the same DNA footprint of the organism on the end of the mycelium and in the like center or on the other end.
I mean, more the speculation is more the actual size of it.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's very difficult to
pinpoint the actual size.
Where it ends, pretty much. So, because some of the speculations are that it actually goes up to 9.1 kilometers. Where the actual, like the official number is 8.9 square kilometers. And the total biomass could possibly weigh as much as 35,000 tons, which shows you how big the actual mycelium system is under the ground.
It's just the whole underground system / underground parking. I don't know.
Well, I mean, yeah, like we only see mushrooms, right? And they're usually so tiny and cute, right?
You know what reminds me of? Do you remember Resident Evil? How the hive looks like? The underground laboratory in Resident Evil, the movie.
In the first one?
Yeah. So yeah, that's what it reminds me of. Just the hive.
What is called Moravenik, isn't it?
Yeah, the hive.
Or is it called the hive in English? Oh. Is and house.
Yeah, hive, I would say.
Oh, because hive
ant colony.
And colony, yeah. Because I'm thinking hive is more like a beehive, you know. Yeah. Yeah, so mycelium is, again, a network which is under the ground, right? And that network touches everything that is under the ground as well. And one of the things that it touches, obviously, is the roots. I'm mycelium, I'm touching you.
My gosh, just Walking Dead. What? No, not Walking Dead. What is it? The Last of Us.
Oh, the what is it called? Oh, cordyceps?
Cordyceps? Yeah, the cordyceps mushroom. Have you seen that somebody on Instagram tried to grow a cordyceps mushroom on agar plate that is fused with their blood?
No. Okay, question also.
Why are you doing this? And haven't we not have enough diseases and zombie movies to say, please don't?
But also, if we have actually talked about cordyceps before in our... I can't remember what episode it was, but we did talk about it, about cordyceps. And also, a lot of cordyceps mushrooms are actually edible.
Mm-hmm.
They are used in Asian cuisine a lot, especially in soups. And also, the mushroom that actually does the zombie mushroom that affects the soldier ants.
It's more like a spore. It's very small, but it can't actually proliferate. It can't grow in a body temperature that the human body has.
Well, that's what they say, but you know how things can mutate.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, please don't do that. Don't grow shit on a agar plate.
But also, it's not called cordyceps. It's actually called pseudocordyceps, with pseudo meaning false. So it's actually called pseudocordyceps. So it makes me wonder if that mushroom kind of just pretends to be cordyceps. I don't know. But interesting, like it's a bit off topic, but it's very interesting. I'm actually listening to a book called Entangled Life, which is all about fungi and mushrooms and stuff. Some of the topics in that, also the narrator is just a little bit like very monotonous, and some of the topics are not that interesting, but some of them are very interesting. And one of them, I was actually listening to it today about the pseudocordyceps. Mm-hmm. And the way it affects the ant is it makes it go about 25 centimeters above the ground, just where the temperature is perfect, there is good humidity, makes it just bite itself onto a branch, and then just sit there.
So
and
it's
then,
nice and fixed.
Yes, and this is when the fungus starts decomposing the brain, and then the actual mushroom grows. Mm-hmm. And then when the mushroom grows, what it does, it rains its little spores on the rest of the ants that are just under that little...
Under the tree.
Yeah, and apparently, so if it doesn't reach the ant to infect another ant, what it does is it creates like little spikes on whatever it grows, which are like tripping hazards for ants or something like that. So it's very well adapted to infecting ants to reproduce. So yeah, it's just an off-topic thing, but like I just listened to it today, and it was
quite
fascinating.
Interesting one.
Yeah. So as I said, fungus touches everything under the ground. Under the ground.
And very unconsented sometimes.
Yeah. So what is that relationship called?
This is parasitism.
No. Parasitism. So
parasitism was the one that we have described as pseudocordyceps.
No, pseudocordyceps is definitely parasitism. I'm more talking. Sorry, I'm back to mycelium and mycelium.
That's a symbiotic relationship.
Yep. Okay. Do you know the two different types of symbiotic relationship that?
My gosh.
So
biology class class 6, 6th grade.
So the symbiotic association between the fungus and the plant is called mycorrhiza. Mycorrhiza.
It's not a relationship. It's the part that is
symbiotic association between
mycorrhiza and the plant.
Symbiotic relationship between the fungus and the plant.
Yes, but mycorrhiza is the rhizome. Mycorrhiza. It's like a node on the root of the plant that is not hosting the mushroom per se, but that's where it's a nodule.
So rhiza is a root, myco is fungus, is a symbiotic association between a fungus and a plant. The term mycorrhiza refers to the role of the fungus in the plant's rhizosphere, its root system. Mycorrhizae play important roles in plant nutrition, soil biology, and soil chemistry. So mycorrhiza is the relationship.
Relationship is symbiotic. Mycorrhiza is the actual thing.
Bitch. And they say the same thing in the book that I'm reading. So rhizome is what you are thinking about, yes.
I'm still not convinced. It's Wikipedia.
Anyway, and there are two different types of them, right? So one is the mycorrhiza, which appears on the outside of the plant or the root, and there is endomycorrhiza, which is usually from within, right?
Just like endometriosis, within.
Yes. Sasha's associations are very interesting. So,
very on point, I would say.
Yeah. Most of the symbiotic relationships, they happen as a
I wouldn't say so, because, for example, all your bacteria, all your lactobacillus that are living in your gut, that's an endo.
Yeah, no, I'm more talking about plants. In plants.
In plants, yes. In plants, it would be more on the topical.
Yeah, because in most cases, if it's in the plant, that's a parasitic relationship. In most cases, but not all.
Yeah,
between
I can't
fungus.
at this point, I can't really pinpoint anything that can be in a plant that will be beneficial.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm trying to say. Yeah. So I guess that's the basics of the relationship between fungus and the plant. Have you got anything to add to it?
Let me see, because it decided to close on me. So yeah, I also have the chapter on mycorrhizal symbiosis. Symbiosis. So yeah, mycorrhizal fungi. Actually, this is like a biggest debate I had with my partner. Like, do you say fungi or fungi? And this is ridiculous.
I'm pretty sure in New Zealand they say fungi.
Yeah, I think it's a British and American thing to how to pronounce it properly.
Well, it's like anti and anti, right?
It's like Uranus and Uranus and Uranus. It's like it used to be Uranus, but just because everybody kept on making fun of it, it was reclassified into Uranus.
Okay, so what is why is aluminum called aluminum in
Aluminium?
America?
Aluminum or aluminium?
Yeah, well, that's why I'm saying, why is aluminum called aluminum in America and not aluminium?
Don't know, just lazy. But yeah, mycorrhizal fungi forms a partnership with roots of the plant, exchanges nutrients in a mutually beneficial arrangement. So usually the mushroom would give to the plant the fungus.
Let's be technically correct and grammatical.
The fungus would give mushroom. the fungus would give a plant nutrients like nitrogen and
CO2 usually, and phosphorus as well. Yeah.
But in return, plant would give mushroom sugar.
Yep.
Fungi sugar.
Yeah. So plants. The way the symbiotic relationship works is plants, you know how in your garden you need to fertilize your plants, right? That fertilizer is usually, like the most common one is compost, right? Compost is broken down organic matter that is used as food for the plants.
That's why sometimes it's not really recommended for you to apply straight up, plant your plants in a straight up compost because it can burn the roots and potentially
Too much
nutrients available.
Yeah.
So, but also like I have never delved into that. Some people say compost is just like a conditioner, which is nutrient rich. Some people say conditioner that is nutrient poor. Other people say, I didn't do research on that, so please don't quote me. Other people say compost is nutrient rich, so please don't plant things in it.
Compost is nutrient. The trouble with compost is because the nutrients are so usually fresh and so released, as you called it before. That's what burns available. Yeah. That's what burns the plant usually. And also it depends on the type of compost, right?
I think that's when the technicality and the general market kind of mixes into a confusion. I think compost in itself is supposed to be as nutrient-rich topsoil, let's call it that.
It's not topsoil.
Not topsoil, but yes, like the addition to the soil.
Yeah.
Whereas what some of the box stores would sell you is just something that is going to разрыхлитель.
Oh, I think you're thinking more of like pumice and stuff, though.
No, it's more like something that is going to not fertilize per se, but like condition your soil.
Well, I would disagree with you because usually your compost, because like the compost that we call compost in New Zealand is very different to compost that we call compost in Russia, because compost in Russia
it's shit.
It's manure, yeah. Which is again, it's a good fertilizer, but it's not as nutrient rich as your green sort of compost.
No, other way around. The manure is very high in nitrogen.
Yeah, nitrogen, but I'm talking about like other available things as well.
The other available things probably will not be as...
No, nitrogen definitely, like poo is very rich in nitrogen.
But that's why you don't want to plant things in compost that is proper compost, because it will be high in nitrogen, that will burn your roots.
Yeah.
But whatever is sold in box stores, as far as I'm concerned, in New Zealand, is kind of very not...
No, it's still pretty, yeah.
Doesn't have manure in it.
No, it doesn't have manure in it, but it's a green compost, so it's the organic matter compost. So it's still pretty, like you wouldn't plant into it straight. So your usual composition is 1/3 of compost, 1/3 of soil, and 1/3 of some sort of thing that will aerate your soil. Sometimes people add peat to it, although peat is not good for the environment.
Yeah. Very nutrient rich though.
Yeah, but like it's not a renewable source, unfortunately.
It is renewable, but it takes like way too much time for... It's not going to be in our lifespan to actually...
Well, if you think about it, like all the crude oil is renewable as well, but it's just not going to happen
not in our lifetime.
Yeah. So yeah, what I was saying, compost. Yeah, so if you think about compost, you add it to your plants, right? To add a bit of nutrients to the soil. That compost usually is created with the help of fungus, especially in the actual natural environment where, you have deciduous trees, the whole forest loses its leaves, and that decomposition of the leaves happens with the help of mushrooms and fungus. What plants do, though, is they create sugars through photosynthesis, because most of your green plants, they have chlorophyll in them.
They're phototrophs, so they produce sugar from light and water and CO2.
Yep.
Whereas mushrooms don't have chloroform, they can't do that. So yeah, mushrooms do not have chloroform, so they can't produce. That's why they have to have this symbiotic relationship with plants.
Yeah. So the relationship is, as Sasha mentioned before, the mushrooms decompose dead matter into nutrients for the plants, and in return, the plants give them the sugar.
The goods.
The sugar, so that the mushrooms can grow.
Sugar.
So the energy, pretty much, it gives it energy. Yep.
Yes. The other thing that I wanted to talk about was the fungal communication. That's one of those things that I have not researched yet. And it just sounds very vague to me. But maybe it's true that because the mycelium is such a vast network and it connects all the plants. And the Netflix show that I have watched also says that mycelium kind of acts like neuron network between different plants, so plants can actually communicate between each other and say like, okay, I'm having a drought, so blah blah blah.
By any chance, is that a documentary called The Hidden Life of Trees?
No.
Because if you are interested, there is a book called Hidden Life of Trees, which goes quite deep into that relationship that you're talking about now.
But I just have not seen much of the scientific research papers on that.
Yes, a lot of it is still speculation as well. Yeah, it's still interesting. Like I actually listened to that book as well.
It's a fun concept to think about.
It's a fun concept, and it does explain a few things, but at the same time, you always need to take it with a grain of salt, because some people are just a little bit too enthusiastic about the things that they research, and they sometimes believe a bit more than what they should, if that makes sense. Like, that book, what is it called? The Secret Life of Plants. Gosh, everything is a secret life, eh? Where, like, they were saying that plants have feelings and stuff, right? I started listening to that book, and then by, like, chapter 4 was like, hang on, like, it just sounds like the author just believes it a bit too much instead of basing it off the actual research.
Yes, scientific papers are great, but also when you have, like, what I'm trying to say is that there is always a bias. Even in scientific papers, there is a room for bias.
Absolutely. That's exactly why you have peer review and peer review and peer review of every single scientific paper, right?
Yeah, because you can always tally your results to your interests. You interpret results that you have collected based on your understanding and based on your interests.
Yeah. Yeah. It is an interesting concept, and as I said, like, if you're interested, read that book, Hidden Life of Trees. I think you might find it interesting if you're interested in that whole relationship.
The other fact that I have found for myself that was quite interesting is that there is 1.5 to 5 million of estimated species of mushrooms / fungi on Earth.
How many are known?
Like maybe it's in the thousands. I can't remember.
I don't know if it's in the thousands, but like they say. So I actually, hold on. I'll tell you how much we know and how much there is estimated. I actually did write it down in a different app before. Because I started researching it in one app and then forgot that I was researching it in that app and decided to research it in another app.
Yeah, we were working on this episode for the past kind of 3 weeks.
Yeah, so they are saying that there are 6 to 10 times more of fungi than known plant species.
So yeah, what you're saying, it's 10 times.
10 times known plant species in the world.
The magnitude is 10 times.
Yes.
So, thousands.
No, known plant species.
Okay, 100,000.
So what I'm saying, yeah, like they're saying that there are 10 more than the known plant species. Which is like, it's probably hundreds of thousands.
So
but yeah.
For example, like what it means that you have like millions of mushroom species, fungi species that are existent, but we know only of 100,000, like not 100,000, but in 100,000.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. What if we go back to the relationships of the plants, right, and plants and fungus, so there is a symbiotic relationship where plants and mushrooms benefit from each other, right? Did you know that? Obviously, you know that there are some funguses that are parasites to plants, right?
The format of today's episode kind of reminds me of more not interview, but like it's almost a debate. Like, did you know?
Well, honestly, because it's fascinating, right?
It feels different.
I like it though. I like the free flowing.
I like it. It just feels different.
Yeah.
And I just want to pinpoint that.
What I want to say is what I found the most fascinating about this research, right? So fungus can be beneficial to plants. There are some fungus that could be a parasite to a plant, right? Like your powdery mildew, let's say. That's a fungal disease, right? And it consumes the plant eventually. And
like the
kills
rust as well.
And the rust as well, yeah. Did you know that there are plants that can be parasites to the fungi?
That I didn't know.
So, let me remind you. Do you remember we had an episode about plants that don't do a plant thing?
Yeah.
There was a plant. I'll show you a picture and you tell me if you remember this plant.
Yeah.
Do you remember what it was called?
No, but yeah.
It was called a ghost plant, which is a Monotropa uniflora. So, I don't know if you guys will be able to see. For those who are watching, this is the plant. It literally looks like just white flowers without anything green around
like an
them.
icicle. Like what is it? Christmas stick.
Yeah, it's not only that plant. There is also this plant as well, which is called a snow plant, which is called Sarcodes sanguinea.
Which doesn't make sense because it's bright red.
Yeah. So both of those plants, the snow plant and the ghost plant, they lack chlorophyll in them. So they can't produce, they can't photosynthesize and they can't produce sugars themselves, right?
That's why they look mushroomy.
They kind of look mushroomy, yes. So what those motherfuckers do is they hijack the sugars so the mushroom, there are two of them. So for, let's say, Monotropa, the ghost plant, it actually affects. It actually didn't find the mushroom actually. Yeah, the other one, the snow plant, it affects the Rhizopogon rubescens, which is also known as false truffles. They kind of do grow like truffles, right? Look like truffles. So those false truffles, they grow in coniferous forests. Douglas fir, pines, Pinus radiata, they have actually been introduced to Australia to control. So what they do is they kind of overpopulate other fungus in the forest. And because this is a symbiotic fungus, it doesn't hurt the plant, where like other funguses might hurt the plant, right? Fungi, yeah, sorry. Fungi. Anyway, so the symbiotic relationship happens between the coniferous forest and the mushroom. The same relationship that we've discussed. The same relationship.
Sorry, it's just the light. You look very ominous.
The same relationship that we've discussed before, right? Where the sugars, the mushroom provides nutrients to the plant and the plant provides sugars. What ghost plant and snow plant do is they will grow somewhere nearby. They will...
Sorry, I just have seen that on your iPad. She has the camera flip. Shutter. The front camera. Shutter. Yes, I know. I need to buy one too. Continue.
So, symbiotic relationship happens between the coniferous forest and the mushroom. The snow plant and the ghost plant will grow somewhere nearby, and what they do is they grow into the
roots.
Gosh, what is this term? Not mycorrhiza.
The
mycelium. There you go. It will grow into the mycelium of the mushroom, and it will hijack those sugars that the mushroom received from the plant that can photosynthesize. So pretty much, pine tree.
Sorry, the light. the pine.
The pine tree.
Like this, like the pine tree. The pine tree.
The pine tree
hijack the mushrooms.
No, the pine tree gives the sugars to the mushroom, and the ghost plant hijacks those sugars from the mushroom.
The scandal. Escandalo.
I just found it fascinating how like
fascinating.
Mate, can I talk?
I just find it fascinating.
I'm getting bullied.
You're getting old. Fascinated.
I'm getting bullied.
It's fun though.
No, it's not. I can't finish what I'm trying to say. You son of a bitch.
Cheers.
You son of a bitch.
I'm a son of a mushroom. I'm a son of a fungi.
I just found it really interesting that there are plants that can be parasites to mushrooms, where you would never think that could happen.
That's called a backfire and karma.
Yeah. So yeah, that was interesting. I did want. I don't know if you've got more.
No, nothing
about?
about parasitic plants on mushrooms.
Did you? I actually thought about like a local example as well of a symbiotic relationship between a plant and a fungi, which is the beech forest and sooty mold. If you think about it.
City mold?
Sooty mold.
Sooty.
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 Sooty. Sooty mold, блядь. Well, when you go to the beech forest, when it's all black and stuff, yeah, so that's the sooty mold that it grows.
The honey, what is it? Honeydew?
Well, not quite. The honeydew is actually produced by the insects the scale insect that eats on the sap of the... So the sap from the beech forest, the scale insect feeds on that, but because there is so much sap, it secretes some of that sap. And on that secreted sap grows sooty mold. So that's that relationship where like the mold will produce nutrients for the plant, but then the plant gives it sugars pretty much almost directly through the butt of a scale insect.
A to B.
Yeah, so it's a symbiotic relationship, but then sometimes it could go bad if the sooty mold starts growing onto the leaves, because usually it grows on the trunk, right? If it is too happy and it starts growing onto the leaves, obviously it covers the leaves and the plant can't photosynthesize anymore.
And it dies and everything dies.
So there is always a balance, eh? So sometimes too much of a good thing could be a bad thing.
It's called don't be greedy, bitch. All right, let's go to the next topic. And my topic was, well, the aspect that I wanted to touch about the fungi / mushrooms is the beneficial aspects of those.
The mushrooms or fungi?
The mushrooms.
Okay.
Like, for example, everybody knows about the Eastern medicine. No, sorry, Western medicine. And like Chinese medicine and Japanese medicine. How it's all based on the like
everything natural,
everything like powders, roots, mushrooms. So one of the mushrooms that I was thinking about was the lion's mane, and it was quite popular in the past several years, especially on social media, just because everybody's all of a sudden realizing that it's very beneficial for you. Again, I have not looked for or found any research, so please do it yourself. But I do find it as a very interesting, not topic, but connection that people think / believe that lion's mane mushroom can not cure, but benefit people who suffer from Alzheimer's disease.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yes, I know what you mean. Yeah. Well, I don't know if there's been done any research on that particular topic, but there's a lot of research done with mushrooms, different mushrooms, and how they can benefit human health in different ways. Yeah. So I see where it's coming from. But also, a lot of speculation, you know where it comes from? The fact that mushrooms are, because they don't need a lot of sunlight to grow, right? A lot of people think that mushrooms are very... because they can survive in harsh conditions, they can help. They have like magical powers and they can help other, not magical, but I mean, because they are so tough, they can help people, you know.
This is like very 5th century. If I eat the meat of dragon, I will be strong.
Well, pretty much yes, but that's what people believe in though. Especially those who like eat mushrooms that have no, you know, research behind it. Like lion's mane is obviously... I guess I hope there is some. Research.
There is some research, like as my writing says, and yes, there is some research about it. Like the emerging research suggests that lion's mane mushroom may hold promise as a natural remedy for Alzheimer's. Well, I wouldn't call it a remedy, but a supplement maybe. A progressive the Alzheimer's is a progressive neurodegenerative disease.
Is that similar to dementia, or is dementia always Alzheimer's?
Alzheimer's is a step up of dementia, as far as I'm concerned.
So it's from the same family, called that way. Okay.
Yes. So yeah, disorder that is characterized by the cognitive decline and memory loss. Several studies have investigated the effects of lion's mane mushroom extract on cognitive functions and brain health, with promising results. So yeah, the lion's mane has bioactive compounds such as hyoscyamus and erinacines, which have been shown to promote nerve growth factor. Which is great.
Yeah, but they also say doing crosswords is really good for your dementia, for not getting dementia.
Yeah, but
like pretty much exercising your brain is good.
While why I think this is fascinating about the lion's mane is that the research shows that there is promotion of neuron growth. Neuron growth.
The wine is hitting.
The wine is hitting hard. I haven't had dinner today yet, so I'm sorry.
That's okay. I'm just
half a bottle kind of hits hard.
I'm just joking.
But also, it's just fascinating for me that lion's mane has promotional effects on the neuron growth. Growth. Just because neurons are not known to grow very fast, if at all, in the grown-ups.
Okay.
We still create the neuron links, neuron connections, but it's just at a very slow rate. That's why older people find it very hard to learn new things.
I'm not creating any neuron connections right now.
Yeah, you are destroying them. It's fine, me too. But that's why there is a saying, old dog cannot learn new tricks. I mean, it can learn new tricks, it just will take a fucking long time.
Yeah.
So that's why,
even in dog terms, this is true. You can still teach tricks to an older dog. It's just it will take longer than a puppy, obviously.
So yeah.
Same with kids. Like, I mean, that's why, we're bilingual kids, right? They learn languages. They become fluent in both languages. But then as soon as you hit a certain mark, like, you will never lose your accent. I mean, aka example A and example B, right? But also, it's just, it applies to everything. The older things get, the older the cells get, the more difficult it is for them to learn something.
The worse is the root of the problem.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying that it applies to pretty much everything, isn't it? Doesn't it?
So yeah, apparently they have done the animal studies that have demonstrated that lion's mane mushroom supplementation can improve cognitive functions and memory in various models of cognitive impairment.
What does it look like? I'm curious now.
Lion's mane? Yeah. It looks like a fluffy sponge on a tree.
Oh, I think I know what you... Lion's mane.
The other thing that lion's mane has is the anti-inflammatory and antioxidant effects on the body. So it has a chronic inflammation and oxidative stress are key contributors to the pathogenesis of the Alzheimer's disease. So
it's cute.
Yeah, it is very cute. It's like very fluffy.
It's like a little
ballsack.
I was actually thinking of Raffaello Candy, the
it does look like it was dunked into
the
coconut shavings.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it looks cute. Oh, you can even cook it. That looks like cauliflower.
Yeah, you can cook with lion's mane, and it looks like, I would say chicken wings.
I don't know, to me that looks like a cauliflower, kind of. Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. The other benefit, do you want to say anything else? I can continue going with beneficial mushrooms if you want to.
Yeah. I actually let's do the beneficial ones first, and then I actually wanted to touch on the fungal diseases in plants.
Well, I'm touching humans.
Jamie!
Somebody save me! Or humans from me. So the other beneficial mushroom that I wanted to cover was reishi, Ganoderma lucidium, which is well-known medicinal mushroom in traditional Chinese medicine, which is revered for its immunomodulatory and antioxidant properties. It contains bioactive compounds such as triterpenes and polysaccharides, which have been linked to anti-inflammatory, anti-tumor.
It looks like little fairy, like, the fairy garden little boing, 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 boing. Or,
Like a platforms. In Baldur's Gate.
Yes, in Baldur's Gate, that's what I wanted to say. In the Underdark.
In Underdark, you have those mushrooms to climb up.
If you're a geek like us and you play video games, Baldur's Gate, Underdark, yeah.
So yeah, reishi is commonly used to support immune function, reduce stress, and promote longevity. A lot of plants / mushrooms in our even our previous episodes to support your stress resistance, to promote your health, to promote your mental awareness.
You can meditate to do that as well. Like actually that actually is scientifically proven that it does help.
Yeah, these days I really can't get out of bed without literally taking time to compose myself. Otherwise, the whole day is going to be cranky.
Do you know what I started doing with getting out of the bed? Especially now in winter. We are in winter in New Zealand. It's pitch black outside. And when we wake up, I actually wake up at 6 because I start work at 8. So by the time I
Hue lights.
Sorry?
Is it the Philips Hue light story?
Yes, like the actual the wake up light that I'm using. It's so good though, because what it does from 5:30, it just slowly starts becoming brighter and brighter, and it's not like in my face. It's actually it's directed away from the face. Not like this. Not like this light. It's actually directed away from my face. No, it's not on the side table.
It's just like Max turns around and what he sees is just like ton. What is it? Ton.
Yeah. No, it's actually in the wall. It's the wall light, and yeah, it just does the sunrise thing. It helps. Like, it actually helps.
Yeah, that's what we have done in our bedroom. We have Philips Hue lights in the ceiling, several of them, and you just code them to change color and intensity with every minute. There is probably.
Is that what you did? No, mine just goes from. So it's called a wake up light, and Philips Hue has that function. So you just.
Well, we did it 2 years ago, so it probably didn't have it back then.
Yeah, well, have a look at it now, because literally you just set your alarm. If your alarm is at 7:30, let's say, I don't know what time you wake up, but I wake up at 6.
12.
And from 5:30, it just slowly starts becoming brighter and brighter, and it's also that nice warm white, so it's actually like a sun sort of color. And it just slowly starts to brighten up, and then by the time I actually have to wake up, I'm already partially awake just because of the light. And it's so much easier to get out of the bed as well, because getting out of bed now when it's pitch black and cold as well is just.
I'm very much enjoying that. Especially, we also have the thing that we have Google Home in our bedroom, so we would put a function on Google Home that it would start playing the morning music, but at 1.
Yeah, so it's
not 1 a.m., but at a volume 1.
So it slowly kind of ramps up the sound as well. Yeah. Yeah, no, it's great.
Mm-hmm. The other mushroom I wanted to cover is the turkey tail mushroom, which is the scientific name is Trameris versicolor. This mushroom with concentric rings of various shades, resembling the tail feathering of a turkey. It is rich in
Oh, it's cute. It's kind of from the same
polysaccharopeptides, particularly PSK and PSP, which have demonstrated immunomodulatory and anti-cancer properties.
It's kind of, again, another Baldur's Gate mushroom, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, there are plenty of good mushrooms.
Yeah, like shiitake, maitake, changa.
I honestly miss honey mushrooms from Russia. They are probably one of the most popular mushrooms ever, and you can do whatever you want. You can can them, you can
I miss
cook
canned
them.
mushrooms.
Yeah.
Mushrooms.
Mushrooms. Sasha miss mushrooms.
I miss mushrooms. Yeah. The last thing I wanted to cover is the fairy rings.
The fairy rings mushroom.
No, not the fairy rings mushroom, but the fairy rings phenomena that you see in a field sometimes.
Like the
Do you not know
glowing,
what is a fairy rings?
glowing mushrooms?
No. So fairy rings is if you would go, like, we even see it in our rugby fields, to be honest. That's where the mycelium grows. So the fairy ring is literally, you go into the field and what you see is the ring on the field. Especially noticeable when the field is the grass is mown. So the fairy ring shows you where the mycelium grows. Why is it a ring? Because it starts in a point and then it depletes it of nutrients that are beneficial for mushrooms and it starts spreading. So as it spreads, it becomes a ring. It's like,
Is that what you're talking about?
yes.
Okay. Kind of looks like if you had a watercolor on your watercolor paper, and then you drop dots of water, it kind of pushes the color away. So it kind of looks
what is it? The stains on your sheets.
Stains on your
The stains on your sheets. No, the stains on your sheets, like just rings.
Yeah. The other phenomenon the other phenomenon that
The other phenomenon
that fascinates me is the what is it called? It's called the foxfire, which is pretty much the bioluminescence of the mushrooms, which is just
beautiful.
It's so awesome. Look at that. That's just amazing. So bioluminescence is not the, what is it called when the glow sticks, because they absorb the light and then they
release it. Yes.
What is it called? Fluorescence? No.
Fluorescence, probably. Fluorescent light. That's the release of. No, that's chemical.
That's fluorescent is very
fluorescent
bright.
Is different. Yeah, that one is chemical.
Gosh, what is it called?
Gosh, we have Google here.
The glow in the dark thing, right? You put it under the light, it absorbs the light, and then it releases it in the dark. Bioluminescence is actually a chemical reaction that produces the...
Chemiluminescence.
Chemiluminescence, okay, yeah. Bioluminescence it produces the glow on its own with the chemical reaction within the plant, right? Or the fungi. And that fascinates me so much, because, like, it's the same with, like, the fireflies and the glowworms that we have in New Zealand, and that what is it called? The bioluminescence in the sea, where, like, the plankton that eliminates light. Mushrooms can do that too. And
so yeah, bioluminescence is production and emission of light by living organisms. It is a form of chemiluminescence.
Yeah.
So it's similar to glow sticks, but it's just very, very much lighter.
Yeah, so that's kind of like, the fairy rings, the bioluminescence. Mushrooms are cool, and fungi are cool.
Yeah. Have you never heard of fairy rings in the folklore and mythical?
No, I knew about them, but I never actually thought that you can see them. You can see where the
actual rings.
Well, yeah, because
not actual fairies, but actual rings.
No, I mean, you usually think about, like, fairy rings in terms of the mushrooms as, like, that. You think that's where the fruiting is, but I never actually thought that you can see, like, the staining, call it that way, right? With the
that's what it is. Staining. That's a good word.
Yeah, because it kind of looks like a stain, right? Yeah. Yeah. The last thing that I wanted to talk about is, because we are actually over an hour now.
And that's one of the things that I wanted to talk about.
As the going back to plants, is the fungal infections that the plants have, and how you can deal with them, just like suggestions on how you can deal with them, but also how you can actually promote the good fungus grow in your own garden. So 2 things. So the first would be bad fungus, fungal infections.
Usually on your leaves.
Usually on your leaves. So I guess the most common one is the powdery mildew.
So for let's because we are serving for New Zealand market, kinda. Let's cover plants that are very commonly affected by the rust, powdery mildew, and the black mold.
Yep. So black mold mostly is your citruses.
citruses, your pseudoponax, the natives ones. My pseudoponax is currently is under the attack of the black mold.
Okay. Never thought about it. Yeah.
Which is lancewood.
Pseudoponax. Yeah. Yeah, there is also powdery mildew, which kind of looks like mycelium that's growing on top of your plants, because it's like a fluffy powder that grows on your plants. Usually starts from the lower leaves and then it kind of spreads up. Can't remember what, because it's a family of different fungal diseases.
I don't know. I haven't looked into it.
Yeah, so your brassicas, like if you're growing veggie garden, let's say your brassicas are usually susceptible to it, like broccoli, cabbages, brassicas. Some of the perennials, like I have penstemons, that the closer you get to winter, the more powdery mildew you see.
It's because of more humidity and less, like...
defenses from the plant as well.
Well, yes, plants also have immune system, so they are less able to defend themselves from the attackers, let's call it that. But
closer to winter, obviously, even your evergreen plants, their systems slow down, which means that their defense mechanisms slow down as well. Yeah. So hence they become more susceptible. But also, as you said, it's the conditions, right? It's cold and moist and dark and...
the things to actually fight the powdery mildew, and one of the things that actually suffers from powdery mildew will be grapes and kiwi fruits.
Okay, didn't know that.
The things to actually fight it is air circulation.
Yes. So, especially with grapes, you know how fast they grow, right? And you do need to keep them trimmed constantly, not only for the air circulation, but also to make sure that all your nutrients are actually growing into the fruit development rather than into growing the new branches of the grape. So Sasha is correct. So good trimming to allow more air and more sunlight in between.
But like tamed trimming, just don't leave just stem.
Yeah. Another thing I would say is also, if you have mulch around your plants,
throw it away.
Not throw it away, but push it away from your plant stem, because the closer your mulch is to your plant, the more moisture is in contact with your plant, and this is where you start getting the diseases as well.
I think what I was trying to say about throwing away is like, eventually your plants will start dropping leaves. And if you know that your plant is very prone to mildew, powdery mildew, rust, black mold, throw away the leaves of your property. Maybe not even to the green mean, because it means that that's where the spores are, in the dead leaves.
So it's, if your plant
pick up the leaves, pick up the flowers, throw it away.
If your plant is already infected, definitely do that. If you think that your plant is susceptible to it, do that as well. But also, actually, if you want to promote, especially like if you have a lifestyle section, because in small gardens you usually wouldn't benefit from it that much, but if you have bigger sections, keeping the leaves on the ground is actually beneficial for a good fungus development as well. But you kind of need to know your plants, and you need to know that they are not sick with the bad fungus to do that. Yeah. Another thing would be, you can use preventatives, like if you know that your plants... it does apply to houseplants as well. They can get fungal diseases as well.
Some of my houseplants growing mushrooms.
Yes, the mushrooms in the soil, yeah. I had that before as well. Which means that there is, mycelium in the system. Yeah.
And it's thriving.
Actually, you know what? Speaking of houseplants and symbiotic relationships, one thing that I forgot to mention is orchids and how they have the most symbiotic relationship with fungus. No? You didn't know that? So, you know how we talked about orchids before, right? And we have a whole episode on orchids, which is called All About Orchids.
Go check it out.
It's actually a very good episode. So, orchids,
if I do say so,
have pollinia, right? It's not a seed, it's not a pollen, it's this little disc thingy
that has two kind of testicles attached to it.
Yes, so when your orchid produces the seed, or whatever you call it, it doesn't germinate fast, right? It takes ages for it to germinate, and that's why a lot of nurseries germinate it in like a gaga or something like that. They actually have a medium that they germinate it in.
In a very sterile.
Yeah, so in the natural environment, what happens is orchids, because they have a lot of fungus in their roots as well. The roots that they grow, the aerial roots, because they usually grow in bark and the organic matter that falls from the trees, because they are epiphytes, right? There is a lot of fungus that develops in that system. Yeah. And what that fungus does for the seeds of the orchid as well is it actually provides it with nutrients while the orchid is germinating. If you think about it, it's like when I read it, I'm like, this makes so much sense. And this makes so much sense why it's so difficult to grow it. And they usually grow it in like agar-agar or some sort of medium to keep providing that nutrients to the seed to germinate.
And to kill all the mushrooms, all the fungi, because once the fungi is finding the area beneficial, it will overcrowd the seed.
It depends on the fungi, but yeah, that's kind of cool, right? And if you think about it, yeah, orchids. Well, that's how they receive their nutrients, right? Because they don't grow in the soil. They receive the nutrients from the leaf litter that falls off the tree it's on. It's not a host tree, right? Well, I guess it is a host tree, but orchids are not parasitic. And this is where that mushroom develops, not mushroom, fungi, and that helps the seed to germinate as well. I don't know, I find it fascinating. I think it's a cool topic. Yeah.
Mushroom head.
Yeah, but to prevent bad mushrooms and bad fungi in your plants...
Air circulation, and if the push hits the shove, copper spray.
Copper spray, but with copper spray you just need to be careful because it can hurt some of your plants, especially lemons and lime trees, so you need to know when to spray. I can't tell you when because I can't remember.
Not flowering season.
Oh, definitely no, it will. It's actually not good for the bees during the flowering season, so you wouldn't spray it during the flowering season because it will poison them. The proper time to actually
spray to actually spray your plants is just before the budding.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to be early to mid-spring, the budding season for some plants that are not evergreen.
Depends on the plant, yeah.
Yeah. For not evergreen plants, for New Zealand spring, early, for New Zealand seasons, early to mid-spring.
Yeah. Another thing is neem oil. So neem oil, it's more of a preventative.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a...
I have a hate-love relationship with it. I know that it has its merits, but it's not a panacea.
Well, with neem oil, you have to be consistent. Because neem oil has the chemical that prevents the spore production, so it actually prevents the spread of your fungal disease. So it's actually good to use it as a preventative. One thing that I found that is weird as well is you can use milk. You can dilute like 1 in 10... your milk 1 to 10 in water and spray it as pretty much like a neem oil on your plants as well as a preventative.
Just because it gives calcium to your plants?
No, it prevents the spore germination as well.
Weird.
Yeah. I guess it's a fascinating world of mushrooms and fungi and plants and how they all correlate and stuff. There is more to talk about it, but honestly we are already past 1 hour mark and we probably should stop.
And I have no idea what else to talk about besides going on a tangent about other discussions.
And mushrooms. I like mushrooms.
Okay, on this beautiful note, we are going to wrap up. And thank you for listening to us. And
well, you started and I was like, okay, are you going to continue or not?
Nope.
Thank you for joining in today and listening to Two Tipsy Plants. We really appreciate you here. We still want to do this. Like, it's obviously we're not doing it as often as we used to do it, because honestly doing it every second week is just exhausting.
Too much. Like, as a teenager, that would be great. As a working adult, shit, it's an undertaking.
I still like doing it though. I love the research. I love that it keeps us researching and learning new things. And also it's a good discussion. Sorry, the face I did.
I love the aspect of research. I love the aspect of education. I love the aspect of wine. So
I just like discussion because, like, you know, we do research on certain things, but then we just derail and talk about different things, but then come back to the topic.
It's just another excuse for us to just sit together and talk about shit that is not boring.
Yeah. So yeah, we appreciate you being here. And if you have other plant enthusiasts and mushroom enthusiasts now as well, who would be interested in listening to us, please share this podcast with them. I'm gonna drop a little caveat in here as well. My husband and I are gonna do another podcast, which is gonna be all about dogs and New Zealand and dogs in New Zealand.
This is the first time I hear about this.
Yeah, no, I did text you and you
and
obviously
your
dismissed
husband.
it. Yes. Oh my god. The idea. Yep, you freaking clip the audio there. The idea is to just talk everything dog things. The first episode will be obviously us talking about Bolter, but also the next episode will be how to make your garden and backyard doggy friendly. So we'll start with that. But my idea is I want to talk to people who own dogs, to different people. I will invite you to one of the episodes as well because you have a big potato. So just to talk about different aspects of different dogs. I would also like to invite some of the business owners that have dog businesses to talk to them because I've spoken to so many and I love their stories and I love hearing how people create different businesses and how they come out of things. So this is a little caveat that this is coming. We're actually recording the first episode on Sunday.
Yeah, why Sasha is so passionate about the dogs and dog businesses is just because she has a influencer page over there called...
Oh, you're talking about Bolter's Instagram. Well, not only that, but it's, when you have a dog...
Put it in!
I will, but what I'm saying is because... Okay, I don't know if it applies to Rosie, because Rosie is not as socialized as Bolter.
Yeah.
But Bolter is a very socialized puppy, and whenever you go to a dog park or anywhere you meet a dog, you start talking to people about it, and it's actually really interesting. And I want to record those conversations and put them online for, everyone else to listen. But yes, Bolter's Instagram is Bolto the Spaniel, Balto the Spaniel on Instagram. This is where, we'll probably have a separate page for it, but this is where the inspiration comes from. So more podcasts to the gods of podcasts. I just like recording conversations, that's all. But yeah, back to this podcast. Thank you for listening to us and our shenanigans. And
this is it from Two Tipsy Plants.
Yep, and keep it green.
And keep it tipsy. And my glass is empty. Bye.
Bye.